Hey everybody, welcome back to Cara's Cucina. I'm Cara Di Falco and I am so excited about my guest today. She is my co-host for New Jersey Morning Show. You can find her on the Bear Buzz. You can also find her writing for the U.S. Sun. Two-time Emmy Award-winning Kristina Behr.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming over.
I'm just, stoked that I'm even with Cara Di Falco in your kitchen. This is just amazing. I'm just happy to be here.
Thank you so much for coming. So, and I was so excited. So, Kristina's wife, mom of two boys.
Yes.
So, and life is busy.
Super busy.
Super busy. So,
like everybody.
Everybody else's. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just really briefly, what are we making today?
So we're making kind of like a chili mac and cheese that my two boys will actually eat.
Which is the critical element of any dinner.
100%. I mean, it's either this or fried nuggets, which we can only eat so much of.
Right, you can only do so much.
But they're 4 and 8 right now, and their tastes are just constantly evolving. So it's kind of like, how am I going to get calories into these two boys? and this is one of the go-to ones. And not only is it super easy, they like it, but it's really fast as well.
Well, and so you got this initially from Cooking Light magazine, you said, right? And I love this because this is like clearly a well-loved family recipe.
Yeah, don't mind the stains.
No, but that's what I love. I mean, this is the stuff that I live for. Like when I pull these things out of a drawer, like that my grandmother had or my mom had, like I'm like, that's precious to me now, right?
And it's like we follow it, but we don't follow it.
Right. Well, you said you were like, it's where I got the idea, and now I do it my way.
Substitutions, because one might not like the chili that's involved, so I leave the chili out. We use a little extra cheese because they like a lot of cheese.
Who doesn't love cheese? Absolutely.
So we make a little of adjustments, but it's originally from Cooking Light. My mom always had a subscription, and I stole it from her and would rip out pages.
I love it. All right, so let's get our dish started, and then we'll talk some more. So we've got our pan over kind of like medium-low heat here. What are we starting with?
It's super duper easy. We're gonna start off browning the meat, right? Okay. So you need about a pound. They say not to use the entire pound. I use it anyway because who's gonna have the little?
What are you doing with the quarter pound?
Yeah, and it's just extra calories that can just go in there for them. And you can get any kind of meat, right? Like if you want to have it a little bit healthier, you can get the 90% beef. Or 85%. I
bet this would work with like turkey meat too.
It does, 100%. So it depends on what you're looking for in your tastes, really. The boys like burgers, so I use the burger meat. And again, you just brown it until it's really nice and coated. And while this is browning, I put some of the seasonings in there. And like I mentioned, I don't use some of the spicier stuff, the chili stuff, which makes it a chili
mac. But if they're not going to eat it.
Right, they don't like anything spicy. So you add basically a teaspoon of garlic powder. I eyeball it. Like you said, what does your grandmother say?
My great-grandmother used to, with her accent, we do by high. By eye,
right?
Yes.
So, and you can never go wrong with garlic. So, and I'm half Italian, so it's the same kind of dish.
Right, I was gonna say, I have not met a dish where there was too much garlic.
My mom was always like, always by eye. We're always missing something. Obviously some salt, some pepper.
Okay.
About a teaspoon of cumin and a teaspoon also of, what do you got over there?
I grabbed coriander. Was it coriander?
Yeah, okay. The coriander. And, just kind of let it all kind of zhuzh together. Brown it, and once it's fully browned, we'll go to the next step. And I was surprised, honestly, that they tried this the first time. When I made it for them the first time, I was like, there's no way. There's no way, but I'm gonna try it anyway. And that's the whole point, right? It's like, make it, try it, see if they'll eat it.
See if they'll eat it.
Because I've been pleasantly surprised. My husband is 100% Irish, and I try to make a shepherd's pie in March, obviously around St. Patrick's Day, but just, throughout the winter months because it's a nice comfort food.
It is.
And I was like, there's no way these kids are gonna eat this. There's peas and carrots in it, God forbid. And sure enough, they ate all of it.
All right, so I have to send you, a girlfriend of mine from high school created what she called an Italian shepherd's pie, and I did it on the show. It's sausage meat, like marinade, like bolognese, and then polenta on top.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing.
So I'll send that one over. That's like a good, I feel like that's a good way to combine the cultures, right?
A little bit, for sure. And it's like, these kids, they don't eat, like I'll make pasta sauce from scratch because we don't do it from a jar, right? That's how we grew up, Sundays. And no sauce on the pasta. I was like, what?
But, okay, wait, I have a confession to make, seriously. Up until I was like well into my teens, I was butter and cheese on pasta as well.
Yeah.
And same thing. We grew up with, my mom made Sunday sauce every week
Yeah.
from scratch.
And they wouldn't, yeah.
And they, you know, it takes a minute.
Yeah, it takes a minute. And you know, my oldest, who's now 8, he wasn't eating pizza for the longest time either. And it's like, what happened? Where did we go wrong?
Who's not eating
but
pizza?
He's a full pizza eater now.
Now
But
he's into it?
you know, something about the sauce, I guess, that they're haven't caught on. But you know, maybe eventually. It's very sad.
So Kristina, I wanted to talk a little bit about, we were talking a little bit off camera as well. You come from a family of broadcasters, production,
Yeah.
like this was this always the thing that you were gonna do?
100%. Yeah, I mean, I always joked with my parents. I was like, I'm not gonna be a mathematician. I'm not gonna be a scientist.
Yeah.
Because that's all I knew. I mean, we grew up, you know, in New Jersey, and when we got to a certain age, 5, 6, 7 years old, and we went to grade school, and we'd find out what the other kids' parents did. Like, oh, my dad's a dentist. Oh, my dad's a lawyer. I'd be like, oh, that's so fascinating. They don't work in television? What do you mean? Like, I just assumed that everybody worked in television and they grew up with cameras in their house and broken VCRs and things like that. You know, I'm dating myself, but you know, that was like I got my hair cut next to Susan Lucci because my mom would have no time to bring us to the, you know, beauty parlor or a hairdresser.
God, that's amazing.
So she'd schlep us into the city, to the studio, and be like, you're getting your hair cut today. You got to get a haircut. You look crazy right now, right? And so we'd literally be sitting in the hair, you know, area, the makeup, hair and makeup, and they'd be doing Susan Lucci's face while they're cutting my hair. And it's like, I don't know, as a kid, who is this woman? I don't know. She's very nice, you know? But that's how we grew up, and it made complete sense to us. And then once I got into, you know, 10, 11, 12 years old, then we realized this is very special.
This is a big deal.
This is not normal, really. And, you know, the bug caught on very early, you know, watching my mom. She would bring home tapes to screen of the shows, and she would sometimes ask our opinions on people, like audition tapes. So, like, I fully take credit for Mark Consuelos getting his job because I remember watching his audition tape in the basement of our house in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and my mom watching, you know, guy after guy after guy, and she's like, oh, I can't choose. They're all really good. What do you think about this guy? I said, oh, he's hot. And I was like 15 at the time.
Right.
You know, oh my gosh, he's hot. Can he play well against Kelly Ripa? I'm like, I don't know, probably. Sure enough. I'm like, I'm gonna take credit for it. No, it wasn't.
No, but that's an incredible story.
Yeah,
that's
so
amazing.
So like things like that, you know, watching the two of them, my dad in like a control room, pressing the buttons when we were kids, letting us, you know, press the buttons when they obviously weren't on air.
Right.
You know, it sinks in. It gets into the blood. So by the time I went to college, I already knew. I started interning when I was 15 years old in television.
Oh, wow.
Because my mom's like, look, and I was annoying her. And I said, I really want to do this, just like you guys. And she said, okay, but you're going to do it.
Okay.
You're going to go do it.
Right.
She's like, because you know, it's not going to be handed to you. It wasn't handed to them. Neither one of them went to college. Neither one of them had, you know, further education than high school. My dad went into the Navy. He had no training whatsoever.
Are your parents first generation Americans?
Yep.
Yeah, so mine are too.
So my grandparents came over from Italy. They moved to Long Island. They refused to let any of the siblings speak Italian, which is actually really sad when you think about it.
You know what, it's lost. My family did the same thing. It was like, we're Americans now, you speak English.
Right.
And it got lost.
It got lost. My dad, his parents immigrated from Germany. Same deal. You cannot speak German in the house. We're trying to assimilate. He moved to the Bronx and then to Long Island. And so, yeah, neither one went to college. My mom was constantly told, this was like the 50s and 60s, you'll never get a job past the secretary because you're a woman.
Because you're a woman.
You'll never make it in television. And then fast forward years later, she's winning 2 daytime Emmys, nominated 9 times, running ABC Network daytime television when she retired. And so it's very special.
We should have your mom on the show. I want to talk to her.
She's got a lot of stories. I kept telling her, like, you have to write a book. And she's like, nobody's going to read it. I'm like, yes, they will.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
Just because, you know, the story, it's one of just like triumph and redemption, right? It's like you're constantly being told no. And it's like that, I don't know if it's the Italian chutzpah or just, you know, the perseverance to be like, I'm going to show you.
I'm going to show you anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
And then she was running circles around the guys at the network. So
I love it.
It's fantastic. And so, yeah, so I kind of look at it like I didn't have a choice to go into this business.
To go into this business. All right, so our beef is brown. What are we doing next?
Okay, so you're gonna you have tomatoes, canned tomatoes.
Diced tomatoes with chilies.
Right, not spicy. Dump the whole thing in. The whole entire can, even with the juices, right?
Okay.
You're gonna take also 2 cups here of beef broth.
Okay.
Again, you could do low sodium, you could do fat-free, whatever your dietary needs are, at this point. I usually try to get the lower sodium just because sometimes they have a little bit more. And then you're gonna do a cup of water.
Water, okay, which is what I use to rinse the can with.
Then once this is all kind of mixed together, you're gonna dump the pasta in.
Oh, it just goes right in there.
Yep. One pot, baby. That's all we're doing.
That's all we're looking at.
It's literally like a 20-minute recipe, and it takes no time.
That's amazing.
So you wait and you let this boil until the pasta gets all nice and done, and it's to your liking. You cover it up, let it come, and then you're good. Let it sit, and then once this is sitting, you mix together the cheese.
Okay, so we're gonna make our cheese sauce next. Cool. So we were talking about your mom and growing up like basically in TV, but journalism is a little bit different then. But so what kind of steered you into that?
So I always knew I was gonna get into TV of some sorts, right? By the time I was 15, and then by the time I went to college, I took journalism classes. I went to Boston University. I left New Jersey, even though I got into Rutgers, and it
was like my reach school.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta leave. I gotta go. Yeah. So, and my sister went to Boston College, so I had fallen in love with the city because of her. And it wasn't until I got there that I really fell in love with journalism and telling people's stories and finding, what makes them tick. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with that aspect of it, but also entertainment. So when I got out of college, I had this journalism degree, and I'm like, now what? What do I do? And
I think everybody feels that way out of college. It's like, what do I do with this now?
Right? Yeah, it's not just journalism. So I started working in productions, and I worked for MTV, VH1. I ended up at Pix 11 as a production assistant. Within 3 months, I was writing entertainment and producing entertainment for their morning show. And that's when I got that bug. So the bugs were just coming, and I kept getting infected. It sounds terrible, but it just you get inspired in different ways, and it just sticks with you after a while. So, so I did that, and then I just kind of on my way back to hard news, and I've done pretty much everything under the sun, I feel like, except for sports and cooking and that kind of thing. So. Yeah, it's been a wild
so now we can add cooking to your resume.
And I'm honored it's with you. So I mean that's how it kind of began,
That is incredible. Yeah. So what other stuff? I mean, obviously we all work all kinds of wild hours, particularly in this industry.
Yeah.
What do you guys like? What do you like to do, with your kids, with your husband, when there is downtime?
Yeah, I mean, with the 2 little guys, right? I mean, he's still 4, the other one's 8. They have very different personalities and they have different interests, right? We try to go and take them to some place that they've never experienced before, or do something they've never experienced before. So like last winter, we took them ice skating for the first time, Man. And it doesn't have to be big things, right? I mean, during the pandemic, we would go out and do stuff. We'd go for hikes. We'd try to get them out of the house because everybody was inside, right? But it's more about just like exposing them to different things, and like different areas of New Jersey is always a fun time too. We would go to like festivals like the Daffodil Festival in, I forget what town it was, but just kind of like seeing what's out there. Usually not spending a lot of money, but just getting them out of the house and exposing them to other things.
To something.
Roller skating was another one. Doing things like that as a family is really stuff that I love to do. We haven't gone on any trips really. We went to Disney for the first time last summer. So, hopefully more trips where we're traveling. But again, the 4-year-old is kind of dicey on an airplane. Yeah. So it's
well, and I feel like at this point, so much of his life involves the pandemic. I feel like so many of my friends' kids that are ballpark that age, they are struggling because they're not, they missed that socialization, like those critical years.
100%.
Yeah.
So, but he's in his little daycare now. He's got his friends. He's like the mayor of his daycare. So it's working. He has a harem of girlfriends for Valentine's Day too, which is very, very sad.
You were showing me pictures.
I was just like, who is this girl? And he's like, oh, that's Elena. And it's like, what? What's happening here? It's too soon. But it's a lot of fun, and I love being a boy mom. And the older one plays soccer, so it's like now I'm soccer mom.
Now you're soccer mom.
This is odd, But it's a lot of fun. It's a
Did
cool
you
dynamic.
did you and your husband ever talk about like, do we go for the third? Do we go for the girl? You were like, no, like 2 and good.
Negative.
I'm fine.
Negative Ghost Rider. I was done. And and it's like, we'll get a dog, right? So we got a pandemic dog. He's a boy, so it's like I'm surrounded, and it's fine. I am fine with it. No, it was 2, and that's it. There was a little bit of a pang after Shane, the second one, because there is a point where you realize like, oh, there's no baby's gonna wear this again, or this is the last time I'm gonna have somebody this tiny,
this little,
and I'm like, you know what, grandkids, it'll be fine. I'll babysit.
You're like, I'll wait the 30, 40 years, it'll be fine.
I said if Shane was the first, he would have been the last, so we're good.
My parents said that about my brother.
Yeah.
They're like, he would have been an only
like,
child if
no
he came
offense,
first.
but yeah.
Yeah.
I now know, and I was the same way too with my parents. So it's like,
are you the baby?
I'm the baby.
Oh boy.
Yes. So I was definitely that kid as well.
Shane is the universe's revenge on you.
Shane is like, haha. My mom's like, see, I told you.
That's what when they say, they're like, I hope you have one just like you. That's what they mean,
the twin.
isn't it?
Yeah. He's even blonde as well. So yeah, but no, they're great, and it's a good time, and you're learning. Every single age is something different, and it's a lot of fun. It's challenging too. I mean, now with Keegan going into 3rd grade, 4th grade, and you're seeing some of that dynamic. And it's hard. It brings back some of the bad memories too of being in grade school, and then like trying to navigate that with a new person. It's interesting.
Do you like? I think we're conscious that it's different.
Yeah.
How different is like 3rd, 4th grade now than when we were little?
It's I think, and maybe it's a credit to his school system and where we live, but they're a lot more cognizant of feelings and a lot more cognizant of, this kid is playing alone. Let's see if we can pair him up with someone so they don't feel like they're isolated. Mm-hmm. That's huge, because I remember I was not popular in high school and in school. Mm-hmm. I wore giant Sally Jesse Raphael glasses.
The glasses, the braces,
headgear.
Sometime around freshman year, I had the bright idea to cut bangs. It was not cute.
It was bad. It was bad. Like, I blame my parents.
I might have to dig out some of those photos.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I think I burned them. But so back then it was like, and I'm trying not to age myself, but it was very much like, you don't talk about stuff like that. You just march on and carry on.
Yeah, like deal with it.
Even our parents too would sometimes, just ignore them.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't though, when you're dealing with it every day and the potential bullying and things like that, you're dealing with it every day and it's affecting the way you're learning.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a true testament again to our teachers, to our, educators, that they're really cognizant of it now. And it's really nice to see, I'll ask him like, hey, how was your day? It's boring. But like, that's the only thing he's complaining about, right? It's like, well, you still have to go to school and learn something. Right. It's not going to be like video games.
Even that though, and I feel like it's so good that we teach our children about their feelings and to discuss their feelings, because like we didn't get a lot of that, and I think they say like the average adult can only identify like 3 feelings, like happy, sad, angry.
Right.
Like that's all we have a scope of.
I'm feeling frustrated, anxious, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's definitely made a difference, I feel like, and it's just it makes it easier to kind of relate to too, as a parent and as a child. You're like, I understand what you're going through. Like, you're not alone, kind of thing. So it's really nice to see. It's just, it's a different dynamic too, for sure, than when we were there.
Oh, I can only imagine. Yeah, like I said, we got a lot of like, suck it up, you'll be fine, just ignore them, they're the bully.
I was this height when I was 10. Like, so imagine. And
I think I was too, actually.
And all of this. And so, you get bullied and name called, and now people are like, oh, I wish I was your height, right? But at the time, when you're a kid, you don't realize.
Right, you don't realize I'm the same height as a supermodel. So.
No, a little bit shorter. And I like pasta, so that's not gonna happen. But it makes a difference. It really does. And my parents would always be like, "Oh, just tell him, knock it off." And it's like, that's not gonna help.
Yeah, no, that's
really not.
That's not helpful. Yeah, it wasn't great advice.
Right. So it's different now, which is nice. So
that is crazy. So all right, I love how you kind of streamlined the cheese sauce in this dish.
Yeah.
Because it actually says to do it in a separate pot, and you're like, I just do it in a microwave bowl because I don't have time for all that.
It's really one pot, right? You don't want to do a bunch of dishes either. I mean, that's how I am every day too. So it's a half a cup of milk, and you can use whatever milk if you're dairy free or whatever. Use whatever half a cup of almond milk or
whatever you've got around,
And then you use basically half a brick of. Usually, I use low-fat cream cheese. Sometimes I add a little bit more. It depends on how creamy you like it. And I literally put it in the microwave for about a minute. I do 30 seconds first, 30 seconds again, until the cream cheese kind of is mixable.
Mixable, right? Okay, and then we're gonna mix this up?
Yep.
All right, so we're going in.
And then we do the other cheese. So
maybe
another 30
Another
seconds.
30.
Yeah. And again, once you pour it into the hot pasta, it's gonna melt even more.
Even more.
It's just more of just trying to get it easily.
Get it going.
But it eventually just kind of all mixes together. And then the recipe calls for 4.5 cups of cheddar cheese, the Mexican cheese mix, whatever cheese you have basically in your fridge that's about to, expire, you want to use, obviously mozzarella, whatever you have. It says 4.5 cups. Sometimes I use more. The boys really like cheese, and it really is what kind of makes it the mac and cheese, obviously.
Right. Yeah. And you were saying, so your older one loves a homemade mac. The younger one wants the neon crap out of the box.
Yeah, the powdered, which kills me because it's like, do you know what's in it? Like, what is that? That's not even real cheese.
I don't know what that stuff is, honestly.
But, that's him, and I'll give him what he wants.
Yeah, I remember.
So it's breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, it breaks
perfect.
up.
Yep, and then it's gonna do it even more in the.
So do you put the shredded cheese in here, or you put that in there?
You could do either one. I usually just dump it straight in there.
There you go.
There's really no.
There's no right or wrong here.
It's all gonna come together, and as long as it's cheese and cheesy goodness, that's all that matters.
It's all that matters.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll set that aside. We'll let this finish cooking.
Yeah.
And how have you been finding? We talked about like the kids going through the pandemic.
Yeah.
How did you find like working from home, like all those transitions? Now like the hybrid situation. We were talking about like on the hybrid work situation recently, which is amazing, I think.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. It's really been life-changing. And I've been trying, now that I'm freelance, I've been trying to find jobs that allow both. Because it really is just eye-opening, and it's from a mental aspect and traffic and schedule-wise. It takes so much out of you when you realize I don't have to sit in 4 hours of traffic going into the city anymore.
Yeah.
This is just as fine. I'll sit at home with my dog and he'll be my coworker. Not that I don't like talking to people, it's just like the trade-off is
I
there.
think that's been my favorite part about like I said, having it be a hybrid situation so that I do have those days where I can sit at home and I'm in my sweatpants from the waist down, like, I'm dressed for TV from here up kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Or, I'm doing the back end work on something.
Right.
And then I get to, 2-3 days a week, get dressed up, put on the makeup, go somewhere, see my
100%.
colleagues who I do
100%.
enjoy.
Yes.
So it's a
Absolutely.
nice balance where it's like I
Absolutely.
don't have to do this every day where it becomes a drag, but I get to do it enough where I still have fun.
Right, exactly. And I was one of the fortunate ones at the time where I got to anchor from home, but we had never done anything like that before. So the challenges with technology were tenfold more than, going in and having a studio to broadcast from. That it took a good 3 months to get it under control and to get it situated. So that, as great it is being home, there's certain jobs you can't do from home, and it becomes even more of a challenge, than say.
How do you think our industry has changed from that? Like,
Wow.
to me, I feel like we're never gonna go back to that full. I think people really fell in love with seeing our dogs run through the background
100%.
and our kid and our spouses walk in and their eyes get real big and then close the door and like.
That's the norm now.
Yeah.
I was live multiple times when I had a little person walk in and be like, Mom, can I have goldfish? And it's like, hello. But people love that. People just love seeing the realness and like kind of like your personal space, I mean, social media, you kind of get a feeling for it, but that's even more.
Yes.
Because that's, the professional setting, right? And then once that's invaded, you're like, oh yeah, they're real people too.
They're real people too.
So I think it's forever changed, and I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing, and I think it's going to evolve even more. Hopefully,
Yeah.
you know. Now we know how to do it. Now we know how to. You could do an interview from home in somebody's, you know, couch, and it's fine.
And it's fine.
And it's acceptable. You know, is it fun to be in like the studio or out in the field? Yeah, sure. But it's also fun to be in your couch.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, you know, I think the best part really was the way the audiences responded, where, like you said, where it was like, oh, these are real people.
Yeah.
Like they do, you know, they deal with this too.
For sure.
They, you know, and I think it does kind of make them,
Right.
makes you connect more with your audience, because you know, people will stop us and I'm like, you know, I always notice like they get very close, like as if they know you, and I'm like, I've never met you before.
Yeah, you're like, you're a stranger.
But that's been kind of
Yeah.
like, you know, you do kind of make that connection a little bit more, because you're like, oh yeah, like I've done this before.
Yeah.
Me
It's
too.
fine. We're here. It's good.
You know, I went and bought like the heavy duty, like Italian wheat pasta kind of a thing. Like I was like, I could.
Yeah.
It was like any elbow macaroni, and I was like, can't just be any elbow macaroni.
Yeah, and then it cooks just in the same pot, so you're good.
All right, so we've been chatting. Pasta's been cooking.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. You basically want the pasta to be thick and done, right?
Okay.
If you got a little liquid left over, that's fine. It all kind of mixes together.
It all kind of mixes together. So then,
Yeah.
so we're going in with this, the milk and the cream cheese.
Yep, milk. Now that's been warmed up and it's kind of like expanded. Kind of zhuzh it in there.
Okay.
Dump, and then
You
I'll
just want to start dumping bags of cheese in?
I'll use whatever's left in this
Yeah,
one.
that's fine.
This is like the Mexican style one. Just kind of dump. Literally, I just dump. That's all you need. And again, it says 4.5 cups of great shredded cheese, but it really depends on what you prefer and what you like. So I can do like half?
Just dump the whole bag in.
Whole bag.
We might as well.
Yeah, because they like it extra cheesy.
Hey, who doesn't?
And you start to see kind of like that mac and cheese kind of consistency, right? Sometimes I'll add more, sometimes, you know, at the end I'll add a little bit of grated cheese on the top, because again, you can't have too much cheese.
You know what I think is interesting with this? I like that they used the cream cheese. Like normally when you make mac and cheese from home, you know, like you make the roux, you make the bechamel, blah, blah. And this kind of like skipped that whole step by just going straight to cream cheese.
Yep, cream cheese and milk, that's it. And
There you go.
just kind of microwave it or heat it up a little bit so it can expand and you don't have chunks of cream cheese, which to me, I don't care.
Not but I was gonna say I wouldn't be mad either.
And they don't care either. It's like another layer of cheese. So that's literally done. I would just serve it to them, a little bit of extra grated cheese on top, maybe a side of broccoli, which is one of the few
green vegetables
that
they'll
eat, or carrots, which is the other thing they'll eat, and that's it. Done and done. And that lasts, you know, for a few days in the fridge in a sealed container.
All right, well, you know, we got to do a little quality control, so let me grab some bowls here.
So like it's just super.
Oh, it's super cheesy.
Yep. And it's even better like the second and third day, because it like.
Why?
comes
I was gonna
together
say
even more.
these dishes I feel like are always ones that are like you're better off
Yep.
having some leftovers, because it's like anything. I've actually never made anything like this. I'm glad you picked this, because I would not have.
Yeah.
And it's just something different
It's
that
a
everybody
twist on mac and cheese, really. And just to get a little bit of more protein in there. And for them, the fat. For them, they need the fat.
Right.
For, you know, maybe me, not so much.
Not so much.
But, you know, this is something they'll eat for a few days, and that's great. Hey.
All right, let's see how we
cheers?
did here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers, bowls.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's got a little, like,
I was a little concerned when you sent me this, but it is actually very good.
a little, you know, the Mexican twist, like the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flavorings
Got a
and-
little flavor to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But not too spicy, because they don't.
because we can't do the spicy for the kids.
God
hey,
forbid.
hey, you know.
Yeah.
But you could add it if you wanted to, if you were, you know, when you make it at home.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank you
coming
for
and hanging out with me, for sharing this with us. I appreciate it.
Now you have dinner for several days.
Hey, there you go. Guys, listen, the recipe is going to be available at caradifalco.com. You can follow me, Facebook and Instagram at Cara Di Falco. You can follow Kristina at Kristina Behr. There you go.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
All the good stuff. Thank you so much, my
Thank
friend.
you.
I'm so glad you came
This
to
has
hang
been
out
fun.
with me. I'll see you
Thanks,
guys next time. Thank you.
Yay!